According to the 2020 National Electrical Code, several wire types are suitable for underground conduit in dry areas. These include THHN-2, which stands for high heat resistant nylon coated copper, and THWN-2, which signifies moisture resistant nylon coated copper. Another acceptable option is UF, or underground feeder cable. There are also exceptions to consider. Firstly, NTW, or machine tool wire, can be utilized if it is adequately protected from physical damage and is not subjected to excessive temperatures. Secondly, gas and oil res. Roman II wire is permissible in environments where electrical circuits are likely to encounter gasoline, oil, or other hazardous liquids or vapors. The designation AWM 600 volts VW-1 pertains to the wire insulation rating rather than the wire type itself. This rating indicates that the wire is appropriate for use in dry locations with a maximum voltage of 600 volts. Concerning the cross-sectional area of the conduit, if less than 40% of the cross-sectional area of the 1 and 1/2 inch conduit is occupied, the wire opacity remains unaffected. UF cable is specifically designed for direct burial in the ground. While it is not mandatory for underground conduit applications in dry areas, it may be required by local codes or utility specifications. In summary, based on the information, suitable wire types include THHN-2, THWN-2, MTW with appropriate protection, and GAS and OIL res. Roman II in areas prone to gasoline or oil exposure. Always refer to the latest edition of the National Electrical Code for the most up-to-date and accurate requirements. Now let's delve deeper into each of these wire types and their specific characteristics. THHN-2 wire is a popular choice for conduit installations due to its excellent heat resistance and its nylon jacket, which provides added protection against abrasion and chemicals. The 2 in THHN-2 indicates that it is rated for wet locations, making it a versatile option for both dry and damp environments. THWN-2 wire shares similar properties with THHN-2, but its primary distinction lies in its superior moisture resistance. This makes it particularly well suited for underground conduit applications where moisture may be a concern, even in predominantly dry areas. MTW wire, commonly used in machine tools and industrial settings, is a flexible and durable option. However, it's crucial to ensure that MTW wire is adequately protected from physical damage and excessive temperatures when used in underground conduit, as it may not have the same level of environmental resistance as THHN-2 or THWN-2. Gas and oil res. Roman II wire is specifically designed to withstand exposure to gasoline, oil, and other hazardous liquids or vapors. This makes it an ideal choice for applications where such substances are present, ensuring the integrity and safety of the electrical system. UF cable, while not strictly required for underground conduit in dry areas, offers the advantage of direct burial capability. This means that it can be buried directly in the ground without the need for conduit, simplifying installation in some cases. However, when using UF cable in conduit, it's important to ensure that the conduit is properly sealed to prevent moisture from entering and potentially damaging the cable. Now let's discuss conduit fill, which refers to the percentage of the conduit's cross-sectional area that is occupied by wires. The National Electrical Code sets limits on conduit fill to ensure adequate ventilation and prevent overheating of the wires. In the scenario described, where less than 40% of the 1 and 1/2 inch conduit's cross-sectional area is occupied, the wire opacity is not affected. However, it's essential to calculate the conduit fill accurately to ensure compliance with the NEC. To calculate conduit fill, you'll need to know the cross-sectional area of each wire and the inner diameter of the conduit. The NEC provides tables that list the cross-sectional area of various wire sizes and types. Once you have this information, you can use the following formula to calculate the conduit fill percentage. Conduit fill percentage equals the total cross-sectional area of all wires divided by the cross-sectional area of the conduit, multiplied by 100. If the conduit fill percentage exceeds the limit specified in the NEC, you'll need to either use a larger conduit or reduce the number of wires in the conduit. In addition to conduit fill, it's also important to consider the ampacity of the wires. Ampacity refers to the maximum amount of current that a wire can safely carry. The NEC provides tables that list the ampacity of various wire sizes and types based on factors such as insulation temperature rating and ambient temperature. When selecting wires for an underground conduit installation, it's crucial to ensure that the wire ampacity is sufficient to handle the anticipated load. It's also important to consider voltage drop, which refers to the decrease in voltage that occurs as electricity flows through a wire. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction or operate inefficiently. The NEC provides guidelines for calculating voltage drop and recommends that voltage drop should not exceed 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. When running wires underground, it's important to protect them from physical damage. This can be achieved by using rigid non-metallic conduit, which is a durable and corrosion-resistant option. The conduit should be buried at least 20 inches deep to provide adequate protection from digging and other potential hazards. It's also important to seal the ends of the conduit to prevent moisture and debris from entering. When connecting wires in an underground conduit system, it's crucial to use appropriate connectors and splicing methods. The connectors should be rated for underground use and should be properly installed to ensure a reliable and watertight connection. Splicing should be done in accordance with the NEC and should be protected from moisture and physical damage. Finally, it's important to remember that electrical codes and regulations can vary depending on the location. Always consult with a qualified electrician or local building inspector to ensure that your underground conduit installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. In Massachusetts, where the location information specifies, local amendments to the NEC may exist, so it's especially crucial to check with local authorities. These amendments can address specific environmental conditions, common construction practices, or other regional factors. Understanding these local requirements is essential for ensuring a safe and compliant electrical installation. Remember, while this information provides a general overview of wire types and installation practices for underground conduit in dry areas, it should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician for specific guidance on your project. A licensed electrician can assess your specific needs, evaluate the site conditions, and ensure that the installation is performed safely and in accordance with all applicable codes and regulations. Now let's expand a bit on the purpose of each of the components of the wire type. Firstly, the insulation itself. The insulation's primary role is to prevent electrical current from straying from the conductor, mitigating the risk of short circuits, electrical shocks, and fires. The insulation material must possess high dielectric strength, which means it can withstand high voltages without breaking down. Secondly, the jacket. Many wire types feature an outer jacket that serves as a protective layer over the insulation. The jacket safeguards the insulation from abrasion, moisture, chemicals, and ultraviolet radiation. It also provides mechanical protection during installation and throughout the wire service life. Thirdly, the conductor. The conductor is the core of the wire, responsible for carrying the electrical current. Copper and aluminum are the most common conductor materials chosen for their excellent conductivity. Copper boasts high conductivity, but is heavier and more expensive than aluminum. Fourthly, the temperature rating. The temperature rating indicates the maximum temperature that the wire can withstand while carrying its rated current. The NEC specifies temperature ratings for various wire types, and it's crucial to select a wire with a temperature rating appropriate for the application. Fifthly, the voltage rating. The voltage rating specifies the maximum voltage that the wire can safely handle. Exceeding the voltage rating can lead to insulation breakdown and electrical hazards. It's essential to choose a wire with a voltage rating that matches or exceeds the system voltage. Sixthly, the ampacity. The ampacity, as mentioned earlier, is the maximum current that the wire can safely carry. The NEC provides ampacity tables that take into account factors such as wire size, insulation type, and ambient temperature. Selecting a wire with an adequate ampacity is crucial to prevent overheating and potential fire hazards. Seventhly, the wet location rating. Some wire types are specifically designed for use in wet locations. These wires have insulation and jackets that are resistant to moisture and corrosion. Using a wet-rated wire in a damp or wet environment is essential for maintaining safety and preventing electrical failures. Eighthly, the flame retardancy. Flame retardancy is a crucial characteristic of wire insulation. Flame retardant wires are designed to resist ignition and prevent the spread of fire. The VW-1 rating mentioned in the original information indicates that the wire has passed a vertical flame test demonstrating its ability to self-extinguish. Ninthly, the chemical resistance. In certain applications, wires may be exposed to chemicals, oils, or other corrosive substances. Chemical-resistant wires have insulation and jackets that are specifically formulated to withstand these harsh environments. Tenthly, the flexibility. The flexibility of a wire can be an important consideration, particularly in applications where the wire needs to be bent or routed through tight spaces. Some wire types are more flexible than others, making them easier to install in challenging situations. UF cable, while primarily intended for direct burial, can also be used in conduit. However, it's important to note that UF cable has a relatively low temperature rating compared to THHN or THWN wires. This means that the ampacity of UF cable may need to be deaerated in certain conduit installations, particularly if the conduit is exposed to high ambient temperatures. When selecting a wire type for underground conduit, it's also important to consider the type of equipment that will be connected to the circuit. Some equipment may have specific wire type requirements or recommendations. For example, motors and other inductive loads may require wires with a high temperature rating or larger ampacity. Now, let's discuss some common mistakes to avoid when installing underground conduit. Firstly, using the wrong wire type. Using a wire type that is not suitable for the application can lead to premature failure, electrical hazards, and code violations. Always consult the NEC and a qualified electrician to ensure that you are using the correct wire type. Secondly, exceeding the conduit fill limit. Exceeding the conduit fill limit can cause overheating of the wires, making it more difficult to pull the wires through the conduit and potentially damaging the insulation. Thirdly, improper splicing. Improper splicing can lead to loose connections, electrical arcs, and potential fire hazards. Always use approved connectors and splicing methods and ensure that all connections are tight and secure. Fourthly, inadequate burial depth. Burying the conduit at an insufficient depth can expose it to physical damage from digging or other activities. Always bury the conduit at the depth specified by the NEC and local codes. Fifthly, failing to seal the conduit. Failing to seal the ends of the conduit can allow moisture and debris to enter, potentially damaging the wires and reducing their lifespan. Always seal the ends of the conduit with appropriate sealant or end caps. Sixthly, neglecting grounding. A proper grounding system is essential for safety. Ensure that the grounding conductor is properly sized and connected to the grounding electrode system. Neglecting grounding can increase the risk of electrical shock and equipment damage. Finally, ignoring local codes and regulations. Electrical codes and regulations can vary depending on the location. Always consult with a qualified electrician or local building inspector to ensure that your installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations.